This is Mae Hong Son. It's a ride that's been on my radar for so long now, but never completed because it's pretty daunting. I knew that it would be pushing the limits of my abilities to ride the steep Thai roads with a fully loaded bike, especially with all the extra gear I need so that I could take you along with me. So, in this video, I'm going to show you why this route is so popular among touring cyclists in this region. Stay tuned till the end, and I'll give you some final thoughts and some tips so that you can plan this trip for yourself. Welcome back to Chiang Mai. This is the start of Mae Hong Son Loop, currently on Canal Road going north towards Mae Rim. Those of you who are familiar with the city will notice this landmark. And for those that don't know what Mae Hong Son Loop is, it is definitely the most well-known and iconic bikepacking route here in Thailand. The loop itself is going to be about 550 kilometers. I'm splitting it up into 5 rides, but it's all in the mountains. The day with the least amount of climbing will have 1,400 meters of elevation gain. I think that's day 3. But for today, it's going to be about 130 kilometers with 2,300 meters of elevation gain. And my destination is Pai. I've been living in Chiang Mai for the past year and a half now, so I was able to just walk right out my door and start a trip like this, which is pretty amazing. I have never done the whole Mae Hong Son Loop, or even half of it. The only part that I've done is today's ride to Pai. So I have ridden to Pai before and back to Chiang Mai, but never beyond that. You can also coordinate trips like this for yourself if you come and visit. I really think if you're gonna come visit Chiang Mai, 1 to 2 months is really ideal. Now I know it's not everyone can just pack their bags and go on a trip like that, but if you can, I highly recommend it. So I just stopped at that 7-Eleven over there to refill my bottles and have a banana. 2 bottles of Sponsor, which is like the local energy drink here. Fairly large bottle of water and a banana. All that came to 45 baht, which is about less than $2 Canadian. This is one of the reasons why I recommend staying in Thailand for so long. It's really affordable. Like if you've ever seen any of my videos in Europe, I was crying anytime I had to stop to refuel. I just stopped here to kind of mention, when you're looking at the segments on Strava, you know, you can't really pay too much attention to the average gradient because, I mean, well, this is Garmin and not Strava, but it's similar. I don't know if you can see that, but the average gradient for this climb that I'm on right now is 6%, but there's like lots of downhills as well included in the segment. So the average gradient is 6%, but there are sustained sections where it's like 14-15%. And this is a common thing throughout the entire country. Just be aware. don't know what that looks like on camera, but it's steep. All right, just at the base of the last climb, 12 kilometers, like I said, 539 meters of elevation gain. Then after that, it's downhill almost the entire way to Pai. Almost. I don't know why the Garmin segment ended about a kilometer up the road there, but actually this is the top of the segment. You'll know because there's a checkpoint. So now it's downhill the rest of the way. Memorial Bridge. So today's going to be a rest day. So I'm going to be able to enjoy a nice coffee today. Because tomorrow, it's going to be another big day. And I'm going to have to leave pretty early, so it's going to be 7-Eleven coffee for me. Those of you that have been following my videos know I'm no stranger to 7-Eleven coffees. I think the best way to sum up Pai is take all the most interesting parts of Chiang Mai and then compress it into a smaller area. Then you get Pai. Oh, and add tubing. You can't go tubing in Chiang Mai. There's lots of great food everywhere, and the city just has a relaxed vibe to it.
Hi, Cap. เอาข้าวเหนียว3
ข้าวเหนียว3โอเคหมูปิ้งเอาไหม
ไม่เอาครับ
I have found the best way to fuel your rides here in Thailand is sticky rice. I just find that, you know, when you're 5-6 hours into a ride, the sugary drinks are just not that appetizing. So this really helps. 5 baht. So I bought 3, and this will last me for the whole ride. Oh wow, look at this. So this route is going to have one main climb, and this is it. This is, well, let's see here. 17 kilometers with 1,000 meters of elevation gain. Here we go. I just wanted to point out how beautiful this road is. You got this view right next to the road. Actually something that you don't see a lot of in Thailand, surprisingly, considering all the mountains there are. Even yesterday's ride in Pai, there are only really a handful of spots where you get like this amazing view while you're riding. So I'm just gonna take this in because it's pretty special. Just back there, I had to push 450 watts. That was the bare minimum. I had to push 450 to go like 6 kilometers per hour. It's just carrying all that stuff. You know, 100 kilometers with 2,700 meters of elevation gain. I know I could do, but it's just like ramps like that with all this weight. It's just, it was daunting for me. I don't know what the gradient was officially, because it wasn't really a long section. It was maybe 150, 200 meters, but it was steep. So made it to the top of the first climb. It's the first of 2 viewpoints on this ride. My thought so far is that it's less busy than the first stage to Pai, but still very busy. Also, it's way less smoky. You could tell just how much clearer the skies are, and the smell. So now, got a nice long descent. just stopped at that noodle place. Had some kway teow. Oh man, that was really good. I got the sweet and sour pork one. Not sweet and sour, hot and sour, which I ordered less spicy. And it actually was less spicy. Yeah, it was really good. I highly recommend that place. So I'm about 42K into this ride, which means I'm about exactly halfway in between Pai and Mae Hong Son. And there's a 7-Eleven. I was wondering if I'd see any 7-Elevens on this route. But here I am, smack dab in the middle, and yes, there are. Alright, that was the second viewpoint. Still got 4 climbs to go. They're all pretty short, but a couple of them are really steep. We got about 19K to go. Kind of over this ride. Oh man, the last couple climbs were not that long. One was 1K, one was 2K, but they were steep. Still got 2 climbs to go. The last one's gonna be 1.2K with a 10% average. put a link in the description for the hotel that I'm staying at. It's pretty nice. It's about 5 kilometers short of the actual city of Mae Hong Son, but I'm okay with that because tomorrow's gonna be really easy, at least compared to today's ride. Just gonna pedal over to the main street to get some dinner. I guess I'll just see you tomorrow. I did not sleep well last night. They had some sort of wedding reception. Oh, they had music going on till like midnight. I mean, like loud, like as if you're in a concert. Like it was crazy. Now the nice thing is today's ride is only going to be 75 kilometers and about 1,600 meters of elevation gain. It's 8 o'clock right now, starting my ride a little bit later, which is nice because I could stop in the town of Mae Hong Son and find a nice cup of coffee. I'm only here in 7-Eleven just getting water and sponsor. I'm not having 7-Eleven coffee today. Not gonna lie, I've been kind of in a bad mood this morning. Starting with the bad sleep that I had, like I mentioned, and also that coffee was not really what I was expecting. And the omelet that I had was super oily. Not to mention, my legs feel smashed. Yeah, legs don't feel great today. To be fair, this has been my hardest challenge to date. Now I think those 2 first rides, Chiang Mai to Pai and Pai to Mae Hong Son, they're actually not that difficult if you weren't carrying all the gear that I'm carrying. If I wasn't carrying this camera that I'm speaking into right now, plus the drone, plus the laptop and all the cables, that would be an extra, I don't know, 6-7 kilos that I could lose. Or if you were doing a supported tour with a van, I actually think it wouldn't be that difficult. So when I stopped at that shop there, the man saw me on my bike, and he was kind enough to set that chair up for me. Like, he dragged it across the whole length of the store to set that up. I don't know if it's only in Thailand, but very few places in the world where you're gonna get hospitality like that. Definitely not in North America or Europe. Those are probably all very spicy. So my hotel is just a couple hundred meters down the road, but I'm just gonna get some dinner before, pre-dinner, before checking in. Oh, it's hot. Today's destination is Mae 100 kilometers. Now the elevation gain on Strava said it was 1,700 meters. Oh, I gotta stop at this 7-Eleven. Yeah, it says 1,700 meters, but every day so far, my total elevation gain has always been about 200 meters less than what Strava has said. So I'm hoping it's only gonna be 1,500. Got a really nice sleep yesterday. Oh, I slept so well last night. If you're gonna come during November or December, the high season, I really recommend starting during the week. Now I started on a Thursday, took 2 days in Pai. That meant I went to Mae Hong Son on a Saturday. If you start on a Monday or a Tuesday, then you head to Pai during the week, and then Pai to Mae Hong Son will also be during the week. I still think it'll be fairly busy during the peak season, but I think it'll be less. It was really busy. Those first 2 days were really busy. And today, it's been fantastic. So I think even if you do end up on this road on a weekend, it'll still be not that bad. I mean, look at this. It was not this peaceful first 2 days. Of course, if you come during June or July, I think you don't have to worry about any of that. I think there'll be significantly less cars during that time. Alright, that's the second climb done. I gotta say, the climbs on this ride are much easier. You know, they're still like 15-16% gradients, but compared to like, especially the first 2 days, piece of cake. If you are wondering, there is a 7-Eleven 30K before Mae Sariang. I do try to support local businesses whenever I can. I bought my sticky rice from a small shop this morning, but there's no shops that's gonna be air conditioned the way 7-Eleven is. And it's hot right now, 36 degrees. 36 degrees and my bike's in the shade. 0. 0. What? Just an update to the bike check video that I did a little while back. I mentioned that these Garmin pedals have been flawless. Well, that is no longer the case. Same with my heart rate meter for that matter. I don't know why, but just on this trip, since day one of this trip, sporadically it's been disconnecting and it's been reading 0, and then it alternates between my pedals and my heart rate meter. They bounce back and forth, disconnecting and then reconnecting. A lot of times it just reconnects right away, but then sometimes it doesn't. And I'm riding without power and heart rate, which is super annoying because my heart rate meter is a Garmin dual HRM, whatever. It's a Garmin heart rate meter. And my pedals are obviously Garmin as well. And my head unit is Garmin. So all three are Garmin and they cannot connect to each other. Super frustrating. Last couple kilometers. Come on. It is rest day here at Mae Hong Son. That pack of pow with the rice, the 2 fried eggs, that pack of pow is actually meant for 2 people. And then I got the rice and the 2 fried eggs and a Coke, 170 baht. All right, last day today. Today's ride is going to Baanhin Noodle. It's going to be 135 kilometers with 2,500 meters of elevation gain. Now, if you look at the elevation profile, you'll see that pretty much all of that elevation is coming within the first 70K. Also, today's the last day because Chom Tong is about 60K from Chiang Mai and it's just flat and boring. My plan is to take a songtail, one of those pickup trucks, back from Chom Tong to Chiang Mai, the last 60K. Actually, I haven't decided. If I get there and my legs are good, I'll just ride all the way back to Chiang Mai. I don't know how much I got left on this climb because I turned Climb Pro off. I have a suspicion that that's what was causing my head unit to sporadically disconnect with my heart rate meter and my power meter, heart rate sensor I should say. So far 0 dropouts on both. Now unfortunately, while you're riding up this climb, you can see how there's that vegetation that's kind of blocking the view. And it doesn't show up well on camera, but you can see through there. You can see just how beautiful it is while you're riding. So it's not like you don't get any view. It's like, again, it's hard to show on camera because it just doesn't look like anything, but you can actually see it through the bushes. All right. I'm sure I got at least 20 minutes left on this climb so far. So far, I've done 20 kilometers and almost 800 meters of climbing. Now, I don't want to jinx anything, but I'm about 62K into this ride with 1,800 meters of elevation gain done so far. Now, the surprising thing is, I really haven't seen any gradients more than 14%. Most of the climbing has been around 8 to 10%. I don't even know what to say. I hope I didn't just jinx myself.
And this is where we get to this part here.
I got about 30K to go, but I'm dying. It's so hot right now, and I'm just tired. But on the plus side, I just caught a glimpse of this huge rock cliff thing in the distance that I've never seen before. I'm gonna show you now. So somewhere over there is Doi Intanon. It's the highest peak in Thailand. Well, I was supposed to get a songtail at Ban Chom Tong, but that didn't work out. So I'm riding back to Chiang Mai. I have been for the past long time. Oh man. Even like hours ago I was dying. Well, one nice thing is that it's not super hot anymore. But I am just gonna cut to tomorrow, where I'm gonna give you some final thoughts about this ride. So see you then.
So it's been a few days now since I got back to Chiang Mai, so I want to offer some final thoughts on this trip. First off, book all your accommodations early if you're going in November, December, or January. I booked all my accommodations 2 days before leaving for Pai, and that wasn't nearly enough time. It's not that it'll be impossible, but the best places to stay will get full quickly. For example, the hotel I recommend in Mae Hong Son is B2. I couldn't get a room there for my trip because it was fully booked. I always feel like B2 offered the best value for money. I'm pretty sure that it would have been cheaper than the resort that I ended up staying in, and I wouldn't have had to deal with that wedding reception. Honestly, that was so brutal. Also, when I was in Khun Yuam, the guest house I stayed in was 5 kilometers off the main road. Again, not impossible to get food. There were restaurants, but the options were very limited. Check the description down below for a list of recommended hotels. Which brings me to my next tip, and that is, make sure to check Google Maps for hotels. This actually didn't even occur to me when I booked my trip. I used Expedia, but after I got home, I was just perusing Google Maps and I noticed that in Khun Yuam specifically, there were many guest houses on Google Maps that weren't listed on Expedia. Guest houses that were on the main road. You may need to call these places directly to make a reservation, and they might not speak English, but it's definitely worth it to have a look and at least try to call. Now, I've saved my hottest take for last, and that is consider hiring a guide with a support vehicle. I think many people watching this may be experienced bikepackers that would never consider hiring a guide, but I also think there may be lesser experienced bikepackers watching as well. Or maybe you have a fancy road bike and you just don't want to strap bags to it. My friend Chani just happens to be a local tour guide here in Chiang Mai. I'll put a link to her company, Chiang Mai Cycling Buddy, down below. The cost to join her on this tour is 38,000 baht. That sounded like a lot of money to me when I first heard that number. But after completing this trip solo, I honestly feel like you do get a lot of value for that money. This tour includes all the obvious things like accommodations and meals, as well as drinks and snacks along the way. But I think the real value comes in how the experience will be with a tour versus solo. I'm honestly not a big fan of tours when I travel, on or off the bike. But I mentioned previously, the first 2 rides of this trip were super busy. Also on the last day, it was pretty busy too. And the cars and trucks were very aggressive, especially on the stretch of road after the big descent towards the village of Hot. It's not that I think you're in any real danger of dying, Like, I obviously completed the trip just fine, but I do feel the experience will be a lot more stress-free and smooth, and just a lot more fun with a group. I've lived in Thailand for a year and a half now, and studied Thai language for a year as well. And there was still often a language barrier, except maybe in Pai. In Pai, there are many foreigners, so most shopkeepers do speak English, but everywhere else, it will be at least a little bit of a challenge. For some, that challenge is all part of the experience. I do get that. But if you join Channy's tour, the route will be a little bit different. Her ride goes to Metjem and then to the top of Doi Inthanon, which is the highest point in Thailand. That is an experience in and of itself. Personally, the next time I do this loop, I want to take that bike. I did say,
those two first rides, to Chiang Mai to Pai and Pai to Mae Hong Son, they're actually not that difficult. You weren't carrying all the gear that I'm carrying.
I want to put my money where my mouth is. If you made it this far, thanks so much for watching. I know I haven't been uploading videos as often recently, but these videos take a lot of work and I want to maintain a standard of quality. If you want to see where I'm riding and want to see more of what it's like to be a cyclist in Thailand, follow me on Instagram. I post stories about life in Chiang Mai almost daily. Almost. See you on the next one. Oh wait, for anyone interested, just an update about my equipment issues on this trip. My test of turning the Climb Pro off was inconclusive. My heart rate sensor did disconnect twice, but it reconnected almost immediately. Now, after I got home, I discovered that my strap was damaged, which I guess explains why my heart rate sensor was disconnecting, but I don't know why my power meter was also disconnecting and why it was alternating the way it was. Maybe the faulty heart rate sensor somehow affects the power? I don't know.